Hi, my name is Lindsay Million. I'm the librarian at the Center for Popular Music at Middle Tennessee State University, and I'm going to talk to you briefly about our collection of zines here at the center. For those of you not familiar with zines, or fanzines as they're called, they are self-published periodicals that are put together by either a person or a small group of people. Typically, they center around some sort of band or musical genre. This one is a punk rock zine, as are most of our zines. I'm not sure what it is about punk and zines, but a lot of what we have are punk related. That's not all we have, but it's the majority. So as I mentioned, they are put out by small groups of people. They could be about a genre, such as punk. They could be a particular fanzine for a band. So think like a fan newsletter, but less official. Or they could be even for a region. So for example, we have one for Vancouver, Toxic Waste. And then we have a British punk collector. So again, it's genre specific, but it's even more narrow than that because it's also for Great Britain. And then these were popular really once the photocopier became something that was more common. People could just run their own copies and put these out there for other people to read. So we're talking from the 70s into the 80s and the 90s. Coincidentally, that's when punk began, or around that same time. So the punk and the punk zines are coming out during that time. And that's the majority of our collection here too is from those time periods. I have some on the table from the 70s and the 80s and 90s as well. And so zines were a way, if it was a fanzine for a particular band, to talk about that band. If it's for a genre, it's going to talk about not just the music, but also the lifestyle aspects. So that includes things like album reviews, but it could also talk about things like politics. For example, we have, this is from the 90s. This is a Riot Girl zine. And so it talks about music. I mean, it talks about Joan Jett. It talks about different Riot Girl bands and other punk and rock groups that are women focused. And so it represents some of that feminism, third wave feminism. But then we have another one that talks about solving world hunger. So it brings in a political thing. It's a way not only to express your enjoyment of a particular band or genre, but to get out your views on other things as well. I mentioned some of them have a tie into a region, so it'll talk sometimes about unknown bands or local bands. And then people don't put out zines quite as much anymore now. Once the internet became something that everybody used more often or were more comfortable using, you start seeing a switch to fan websites. It's a lot easier to upload a picture to a website than it is to copy and paste all the text and images on a zine and then copy it and distribute it. When you have the internet, you get to a much larger audience. So that's kind of switched. Although I think there are still zines out there, they're just not quite what they used to be. So now you have things like your fan websites, you have Tumblrs that are dedicated to a particular fandom, and different ways to express your love for a particular thing. I did want to mention that we have a new generation of zine makers in our collection. So this is from the Southern Girls Rock and Roll Camp, which is a girls music camp that comes onto MTSU's campus every summer. So this is a zine that the girls from the camp made when they were here, and it lives in our collection. But they do a lot of rock and I think some of them are very inspired by the punk movement. So they were teaching them about zines and the art and how to put one together. So that's in our collection too, and it's something you can only see here at the Center for Popular Music. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something new about zines today.